All right. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Trying to get finished chewing this steak up, and then I can proceed with the lesson. Today's lesson is entitled Israel and Israelite. Israel and Israelite. So, I'm going to write it down before you guys on the paper. And as you can see, we have Israel and we have Israelites. All right, R is Israelites. As you can see that. So 1 Israel, 2 Israel, and then 2 Israelite, and then 3 Israelite. Okay, which is as of illumination, as you can see, the light bulb. So Israel, Israelite, or you can say Israelite this way. Now, there are many people out in the world today concerning the Israelites. The Israelites are blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans concerning the biblical prophecies, heritage, and bloodlines that goes back to Jacob, Isaac, and on back to Abraham. Okay? So, I don't need to break down what is an Israelite. I'm pretty sure you brothers and sisters know this already. An Israelite is a descendant of Israel. So, let's go into the scriptures and show you. This lesson is an awesome lesson on today, and it's a very short lesson. But I'm going to point out something that many brothers and sisters probably never seen or never saw. Okay, so Jacob's name was changed to Israel. We know that because it speaks about that in Genesis, the 32nd chapter, verse 24. So we'll go to Genesis 32, verse 24 for a second. This is Genesis 32 and 24. So when you go right here, Genesis 32, and then you go down here to 24, it talks about Yaakov, which is Jacob, which means supplanter, right? So excuse me for the bumping of the camera, but this is Genesis 32 and 24. And it reads, it says, and Jacob, I'm trying to wait till it clears up. If it don't, then I apologize. Genesis 32 and 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled with a man with him until the breaking of the day. Genesis 32:25. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint. So Jacob had this encounter, supposedly with this angel. We know this was an interior experience going on, but that's another lesson within itself. Let's continue on. Genesis 32, verse 26. He said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. So Jacob told this angel, Yaakov told the angel, that he was not going to let loose him until he blessed him. Genesis 32:28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Yaakov, which is Jacob, but Israel, which Yasha'al in the Hebrew, which means prince of power. For as a prince has thou power with God, and with man has prevailed. And so Jacob's name was changed from Jacob to Israel. And anyone that descended from Israel, which was Jacob, was known as an Israelite. Okay, so Jacob, I'm gonna put on the top. Let's put Jacob right here in parentheses. So Jacob's name became Israel, and anyone that descended from Jacob was known as Israelites. So when Israel, had boys, and he had a daughter too by the name of Dinah, but we're gonna focus primarily on the man. When Israel had these sons, okay, actually, I'm not gonna draw all 12 of them, but when Israel had these 12 sons, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, all these 12 sons here, I'm not going to draw all of them, but you get the point. When Israel had all these, 12 sons, they became what you know as here. They became the Israelites. So to be an Israelite is to be a descendant of Jacob, aka Israel. But I want to look at the esoteric term of Israelite, because we oftentimes, we use this, and we are used to spelling Israelite this way and saying it this way, but we are unfamiliar with Israelite being spelled this way, because right here we see the light right there, and we see the light. Okay, so I'm going to go into the esoteric perspective of what you call the Israelite, and so I'm going to be using this one here. This is the one I'm going to use, because you have blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans that are Israel, but many of them, they are not Israelites. So what it means, what's the difference? What's the difference? Israel versus Israelites. What's the difference? Israel versus Israelite. Okay. This is the esoteric perspective. So if you're Israel, that means you are a descendant of Jacob, whether you be man, woman, boy, girl. If you are Israel, then you are a descendant of Jacob. All right? So we're not going to throw that out. That's point blank and simple. But just because you are Israel, that doesn't mean that you are Israelite. Because, once again, we're talking about Israel versus Israelite. And I spelled it this way because I want to look into the esoteric perspective of Israel. That's why I spelled it this way. Because I could have spelled it this way. I could have spelled it that way. But I want to look into the esoteric perspective of this term. And that's why I choose to spell it this way, because all Israel are not Israelite. To be an Israelite here, you must walk in the law. So to be an Israelite is to be obedient. Now I don't know if I'm spelling obedient right. Y'all take the mistakes, but love. To be an Israelite is to be obedient to the laws. Okay? So when you're an Israelite, you are a follower of the law. You are obedient to the law. Okay, and we know there are 613 laws total in the scriptures. But some of the laws have been eradicated because of the sacrificial atonement, because of who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. We know him as Yahweh. When Yahweh came on the scene, he basically ushered out the Levitical priesthood, the whole entire Levitical priesthood, because we know that Yahweh himself became high priest after that blood atonement. And so he ushered out the entire Levitical priesthood order. So now we don't have to go and take animals to be sacrificed to the high priest, which was the governors back then. We don't no longer indulge in animalistic sacrifices. You know, we don't no longer indulge like in the priestly order. We don't operate in that no more, because Yahweh he became high priest. And so when he did that, this is what the book of Hebrews is about. The book of Hebrews kind of explain how the Levitical priesthood order was wiped out when Yahweh came. And so we don't go to animals to atone for our sins. We believe in Hamashiach Yahweh, which is the Son of the Most High God Yahweh. But that doesn't mean, since the Messiah came and he died on Calvary, that doesn't mean that he ushered out the entire Mosaic law. We know that. We know that he did not. In Matthew 5 and 17, let's get Matthew 5 and 17. So we're going to go into Matthew 5 and 17. This is Matthew 5 and 17. All you Hebrews should know this by now, man. Matthew 5 and 17. This is the 5th verse. 5 and 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law. So this is what the Messiah said. Now the law is dealing with the Torah, which is the first 5 books of Moses. Those are known as the Torah. From Genesis to Deuteronomy, it's known as the Torah, which means law books. So he said he didn't come to do away with the law. What do he mean by that? He didn't come to do away with the entire Mosaic law. He didn't come to do away with that. He said he didn't come to destroy the law, but let's see what he said. He said, I didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets. The prophets deals with the Nevi'im. Because when you read in the Tanakh is abbreviated for Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim, which makes the Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Ketuvim, all those 3 segments, those subdivisions, makes up what you know as the Tanakh, which we like to call the Old Testament, 39 books. But he said he didn't come to destroy the law, which is the Torah. Neither did he come to destroy the prophets. The prophets are the major and minor prophets. Like you have Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel. Those are the major prophets. And then you have Hosea, Malachi, Nehemiah, Obadiah, Zechariah, all them minor prophets, which are 12 minor prophets. I believe there's 4 major prophets and 12 minor prophets. And all these prophets wrote about the coming of the Messiah. All these prophets wrote about the coming of the Messiah and things he would do. And so when the Messiah came, he said he didn't come to eradicate the law. He came to fulfill the law. He basically came to fulfill those prophecies dealing with the Torah and dealing with the Nevi'im, with the prophets. He came to fulfill those prophetic messages that were spoke of him, but he didn't come to do away with them. And so there's a misconception right there, because the Christian church would tell you that the entire Levitical, the entire law in general is done away with, which is not true. And so he didn't come to destroy, he simply came to fulfill. You see, and he said, I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, heaven and earth is still here. One jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law. And jot goes back to yod in the Hebrew, which is the smallest consonant in the Hebrew alphabet. So what he's saying, that not one comma or period shall no wise pass from this law. pass from these books until all this stuff be fulfilled. Okay, Matthew 5 and 19. Whosoever of the Israelites, whosoever of the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, therefore shall break one of these least commandments. Like a least commandment is like Leviticus 19:27. Because Leviticus 19:27, it speaks about the beard. It speaks about a man cutting his beard, a man marring the corners of his beard, and also just, a man also balding his head. So in Leviticus 19:27, it speaks about a man cutting off his beard. And that's a least commandment. So, that's just a least commandment. Like for the woman, the least commandment is like covering the head. Say, whosoever, Matthew 5 and 19, therefore shall break one of these least commandments. Like a woman, like a daughter of Zion, like an Israelite woman, she might not want to cover her head up. That's a least commandment. Just cover your head when you pray and prophesy. If she don't want to follow through with that, that's a least commandment. Like a least commandment is like a woman, discarding pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, just put you on a dress. The Bible says in Deuteronomy 22, I believe it's Deuteronomy 22 and 25. I could roughly paraphrase, and I could be wrong. Somewhere in around that area, the Bible speaks. It says that a woman shouldn't put on man's garments, and a woman shouldn't put on and a man shouldn't put on woman's garments, and a woman shouldn't put on man's garments. So a woman shouldn't be wearing pants, and man shouldn't be wearing dresses. That's the least commandment. Like, it's not hard to do that, but if your pastor in the Christian church teach you guys to do that, to go against these commandments, you know what I'm saying? Like it says in Matthew 5 and 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach man so, like the pastor do in the church. He don't tell you that. The Christian church, man, these religious institutions, they don't tell you to keep not one law. You know what I'm saying? They tell you that we all saved by grace. But, if you want to keep following your pastor in the Christian society, it said, which is teach a man to break the commandments, he shall be called the least, right here, in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom. So, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, if you want to be highly esteemed, if you want to be known as being great men and women in the kingdom, you got to keep these laws. And when you apply the laws, you become an Israelite. But if you don't want to keep the laws of the Heavenly Father, then you just simply Israel. So this is why I wanted to do it from the esoteric perspective. Because when we spell out Israel regularly, when we spell it out regularly, when we spell it out the regular way, it's just Israelite. You wouldn't see it this way. So you have to look at it from an esoteric perspective, Israelite. So when you're an Israelite, that means you are walking in the laws of the Heavenly Father. Because what is the law? Okay? Alright, so what is the law? You can go to Proverbs 6, I believe, and 23. So let's go there and figure out what the law is. So when you go to Proverbs 6:23, Proverbs, a book of wisdom that was written by Solomon, King Solomon, that's what the so-called black man. Proverbs 6:23. When you look at Proverbs 6:23, it says, for the commandment is a lamp, man. So the commandment is a lamp. Now, how do a lamp look? We have lamps today. Let's see. I'm just like roughly freestyling. We have lamps today. You might see a lamp like, let's say, let's see. I'm not a perfect artist, but we might have lamps that look like this today. You know, that's a lamp. Back in the ancient time, they had lamps like this. You know what I'm saying? Like they had like a little handle. You know, a little section like that, and they had like, you know, a fire that kindled in the center of it with a handle that they held. You know, and this lamp, you know, when they held this lamp during the twilight, it gave off illumination. It gave off the brilliance, just like the lamp right here. These are like two indication of lamps. You know what I'm saying? This would be like the modern lamp of the day, a lamp, or this would be like a more of an ancient. You know what I'm saying? More of the ancient lamp, but it's lamps. Now, so when you read the Bible, this is the question: what is the law? Well, the law is a personification of a lamp, man. Whether your lamp, looks like this or like this, it's the personification of a lamp. So the law is basically light. And so this is why you see like the light bulb right there, man, because the law is light. And so when you walk in the law, if you're an Israelite and you walking in the law, that makes you, if you Israel and you walking in the law, that makes you an Israelite. That makes you Israelite because you're keeping the laws. But if you Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native Americans, if you Israel, you Israel. You don't got news that you're Israelite. I mean, you see the brothers doing the work, but you just not applying the laws, statutes, and commandments to your life, or I like to say your existence. Then you just known as Israel. You're not an Israelite. So there's a difference between Israel and Israelite. You only can be an Israelite if you're walking in the commandments of the Most High God. If you're not doing that, you're simply Israel. So right here, I like to call just simply Israel. This is what you would call 2/3 of our people that's most likely going to be destroyed. To be just simply Israel is to be part of the 2/3 club, which is 66.6% of the nation of Israel. But to be an Israelite, see right here, but to be an Israelite is to be 1/3. 1/3, which is 33.3% of Israel. Okay? And so if you're a 2/3, then you're not an Israelite, you're Israel. If you're a 1/3, then you're an Israelite because you're walking in the laws. So that's the esoteric meaning of Israelite. That's Israel that have the law, which the law is light, according to Proverbs 6:23. See, Proverbs 6:23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. So Israel that keep God's laws become an Israelite. And reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Isaiah 2:5 tells you to walk in the light. So let's go to Isaiah 2:5. This lesson is about over with. It's not a long lesson at all, y'all. I know time is valuable, and I know the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans have very short attention span, so don't worry about it. This lesson is about to its declining point. Isaiah 2:5, it says, Isaiah 2:5, O house of Jacob. House of Jacob. So the house of Jacob is the house of Israel. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. We showed you that. O house of Jacob, come ye, and let us walk in the light of the Lord. See that? Isaiah 2:5. It says, let us walk in the light of the Lord. So it's not talking about, it's not talking about actual light, like illuminance, like illumination. No. When you're reading the Bible, and when you come across this word light, let me see where we at. When you come across this word right here, light, it always refers to the law. That's a personification of the law. Light. If you don't keep the laws, then you don't have the light. It's kind of hard for me to draw and hold the phone at the same time. So this is a light bulb, right? You can see that light bulb. So if you don't keep the law, if you turn your back on the law, let's say you turn your back on the law, then your light gets put out. That means now you're not walking in the light, you're walking in darkness. Darkness. So when you see light in the Bible, it refers to the law. If you don't want to keep God's laws, you are in darkness, man. You see? So that's the esoteric meaning of Israel versus Israelite. Alright, so give you a couple more Bible verses and then we'll be out, man. So like I said, I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if a brother brought forth a lesson like this or what, man, but the Most High dropped this on my spirit to do this thing. And you know, it is what it is. So, you know, this is why the scripture tells you in the Gospels. I believe that's in Matthew 5 and 14. So let's head over to Matthew 5 and 14. Matthew 5 and 14. Let's head over there and check that out. Matthew 5 and 14 concerning being an Israelite. Okay, so Matthew 5. We back in 5 again. Matthew, and then let's check out 14. Right here. It says, hold on. Matthew 5 and 14. It says, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Now that light refers to Proverbs 6:23, which is the commandments. Because in Proverbs 6:23, it said the law is light. And so that's talking about the law right there in Matthew 5 and 14. Ye are the light of the world. Why? Because we're supposed to be walking in the commandments of God. Now we showed you in Isaiah 2, I believe Isaiah 2 and 5. Alright, it said walk in the light. So ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Alright, so the light of the world is, the light is the laws of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Right there it says, neither do man light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before man. This is Matthew 5 and 16. Let your light shine. Meaning when you walk in the law, you're supposed to let these laws be known before man. Perfect illustration is, say for instance, you and your buddies, you know, y'all y'all outside, y'all kind of politicking it up, y'all socializing or whatever, and they decide to go to Red Lobster or something, and they ask you out to go with them to Red Lobster, which is a seafood crab joint. And you tell your buddies like, man, you know, we cool, but when it comes down to things like that, I can't get with the crab, shrimp, the lobster, and all that. They say, well, you don't have to necessarily order crab, shrimp, and lobster. You can order some type of fish. So you go to Red Lobster with your friends or whoever it may be. You go to Red Lobster and you order like some fish. You order some fish, hush puppies, and a small drink. And, you know, while they over there ordering shrimp, crab, scallops, and all this other abominable food, they looking over across the table at you like, man, this guy ordered fish and hush puppies. Like, man, you know, I wonder why he didn't order the same thing we ordered. When then one of the guys come out and say, oh, yeah, you know, man, he practiced the customs of the Israelites. You know, he believed that he's a Hebrew Israelite, and that God gave certain rules and regulations on what to eat and not to eat. And so this is why this brother don't eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. This is why he choose to order the fish and the hush puppies. That's letting your light shine so your other friends will see, like, man, this man is serious about this. You know what I'm saying? That's letting your light shine before man. You feel me? Or like when it comes down to a federal holiday and all your friends are participating in it but you. Because you tell them that you are down with keeping the Most High's feast days, his holy days. That's a prime example of letting your light shine. You know, but if you're not doing that, then you just Israel. You just Israel. You're not an Israelite. So yeah, man. I don't have too much to say. I just thought I'd go over that. Thought that was very unique. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it says in Matthew 5:16. Let your light shine before man. Let it shine before man, that they might see your good works. The good works is walking in the laws of the Heavenly Father and His Son. And glorify your Father which is in heaven. So keeping the laws is preferred to letting your light shine. And when you let your light shine, you're not just Israel, but you become an Israelite. You feel me? This is the esoteric breakdown of this, man. Okay? So share that with your friends, you know what I'm saying? It's been a while since I posted a video because lately I've been on Facebook because I received some penalties from YouTube. A couple of my videos was flagged for truth's sake. But yeah, I'm back, guys, and I keep posting videos as long as YouTube don't try to come and shut me down again. You know, so yeah, that's what it means. Israel versus an Israelite from an esoteric perspective. That's simply what's going on. Let's see. The light of the world, we went over that. The law is light, Proverbs 6:23, we went over that. Matthew 5:16, let your light shine, we went over that. And I'll close out by going over a darkness precept. Let's see. So, yeah, let me grab St. John 11 and verse 10. So let's go back into the Bible right quick. St. John 11 and 10. Let me grab that up. I know this camera is bumping and shaking and grinding and doing all kind of stuff, but y'all forgive me for, you know, the excessive shaking of the camera. It's kind of hard to do a lesson while holding your cell phone. You guys already know what it is. This is St. John 3 and 19. Because I have a couple precepts written down to make the time short. St. John, let's look in 3 and 19. So this is chapter 3 of St. John and 19 verse. It says, and this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and man loved darkness rather than the light. See that right there? So that's St. John 3 and 19. Tell you that a lot of blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans love darkness instead of the light. And when you love darkness instead of the light, that means you just Israel. When you love darkness instead of the light, that means you're just Israel. But when you are keeping the laws, walking in the laws, rehearsing the righteous acts, then you are Israelites because you have the light, which is the law, according to Proverbs 6:23. You have your lamp trimmed and burning. You know, you can see. You know, you when you being obedient to the law, not all the 613 laws, but the laws that still remain to this day. When you being obedient to those laws, that means you have what the Bible prescribes as the light, which is the law. You see, but if you don't want to keep the law, your light is put out and you in darkness. And this is what John 3 and 19 is relating to. And this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and man loved darkness rather than the light, because their deeds were evil. So a lot of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native Americans, you love darkness. When you love darkness, man, you Israel. We're not going to call you Israelite because you don't have the law. You see? Let's continue on. St. John 3 and 20. For everyone that does evil hated the light, because they don't want to keep the laws. They hate the laws. So you can tell me how much you love the Heavenly Father and His Son. You can tell me how much you love the Heavenly Father and His Son, but if you ain't applying the laws, statutes, and commandments to your life, you in darkness, man. Your lights is put out. And you in a world of gloom. And you just simply known as Israel, not the Israelites. You know, so John 3 and 20. For everyone that does evil, hated the light. Neither come to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. Cause yeah, the law, statutes, and commandments gonna really show you how wicked you are. It's gonna show you up. It's gonna show you that you wicked as hell. If you doing some wicked stuff, you know, when you come to the law, statutes, and commandments, the law, statutes, and commandments gonna show you how wicked you are. It's gonna show you how wicked, how abominable you are. You know? And so a lot of brothers and sisters, or the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native Americans, they don't want to come to the light because it exposes their deeds. You know, like I say, least his deeds should be reproved. It shows you how jacked up you are and wicked. And so, you know, you don't want to be confounded, and so you just continue to walk in darkness. And so long as you doing that, you just Israel. You're not an Israelite, man. And so the Most High, they say, the Most High is light, which is true. 1 John, this is the last book, chapter, and verse. 1 John 1 and 5. The last book, chapter, and verse, and then I'm out. 1 John 1 and 5. So here we go, this 1 John 1 and 5, man. This then is the message which you have heard of him, and declare unto you, that God is light, and in him no darkness at all. So the Most High is light. So what that tells you, God himself is the law. And a lot of brothers and sisters claim that they got God, claim that they have him. They are following him. But it says in 1 John chapter 1 verse 5 says God is light, and in him there's no darkness at all. And that light goes back to Proverbs 6:23. So if you following the Most High is light. That means you got to be lit up too. You ain't got no choice but to subscribe to the law if you following God, which represents the light. But like I said, that's the esoteric breakdown of Israel versus the Israelites. So yeah, thank you for your time, brothers and sisters. This is Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. Beautiful day today, man. Forgive me for the prolonging of the time. You know, a videos being posted. You know, it's just concerning YouTube matters. You know, a lot of truth that's put out seems to get eradicated. A lot of videos that's put out seems to, you know, be flagged. And sometimes, you know, your YouTube account can even be shut down for the sake of the truth. So, you know, like I said, man, you know, I just received I received a YouTube notice saying that it was several videos that I posted that was kind of disturbing to brothers and sisters, you know, and for truth's sake, they try to shut me down, but I'm back. So, see you in the next edition, Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Shalom.